Hi, Adam. Thank you very much for your time. It's great to catch up again a couple of years after we completed the animation for you. Would you like to very briefly introduce yourself before we watch the animation together and have a chat about it?
Yes, of course. So my name is Dr. Adam Sharp. I currently work at the University of Hong Kong, and my background is in insect ecology and conservation. So we made this animation together around 2 years ago when I was working outside of academia, working as a government officer for local government on the UK overseas territory island of Ascension in the middle of South Atlantic.
All right, excellent. So how about we watch it together, and then I'll ask you a few simple questions about it.
Great.
With a bright and windy day coming up on the horizon, it's the perfect weather for a voyage out to sea. Though it won't be ships taking us, or at least not our tiny spider friend here, floating on the wind like a balloon. It's en route to remote Ascension Island in the South Atlantic. After settling in a dark, homey cave, countless years pass, with its descendants evolving no need for eyes if they can't see, and no need for any colour in the dark. A new species, the blind cave spider. In fact, evolution in Ascension's unique habitats has created all sorts of fascinating invertebrates, or bugs. Say, what's that? It has extraordinarily long antennae and legs to feel its environment and has little to no sight. This, my friends, is the cave booklouse, and it thrives happily in the dark also. But what about outside, up on the mountain? A little moth. If we get any closer, it might just fly away. Or will it? Introducing Gray's fungus moth. It does have wings, but they've evolved to become smaller, so the moth won't get blown away in windy conditions. Instead of flying, it hops along, like a cricket. Speaking of size, sometimes island bugs can evolve much bigger forms than their continental cousins, especially with no mammals around. Like this giant pseudoscorpion, which is 5 times the size of its relatives, a whole whopping 15 millimeters. Sometimes it's the little things that make a big impression. All of these unusual bugs, found nowhere else in the world, are far from pests. They're the natural residents of Ascension. But unfortunately, with humans bringing unwelcome plants and bugs onto the island, the unique habitats on which they rely are rapidly changing. Conservation is key to ensuring a future for these special bugs. Share this video with your family and friends, then learn more about the Ascension Island government's conservation efforts here.
Yeah, it's nice to
All
see it
right.
again.
Absolutely. I love the sound design. The music makes such a nice, happy vibe.
Yes.
So, Adam, first of all, what made you decide to make this video in the first place?
With the conservation of invertebrate species compared with the big charismatic vertebrates, things like turtles and seabirds, it's often difficult to engage the public and to garner support for these sorts of conservation projects with invertebrate species. Partly because people have negative associations with invertebrates to do with ants and cockroaches and things in people's houses. But in this case, also because the species we were working with were so very small. Some of those species in the animation are just 1 or 2 millimeters in length. So while I can, with my best efforts, I can collect some very difficult macro photographs, it doesn't have the same engagement and it doesn't have the same storytelling to hopefully get this to communicate this conservation story and then hopefully garner support from the public. It also, as well as having a real location specific benefit for us as conservation scientists, The animation also helped us to reach requirements of the funding for the project. So for our particular project, we had a target to reach X number of people via scientific communication and public engagement. And by creating this animation and then publishing it on social media online, and then using the social media engagement tools, we were able to, first of all, communicate our message, which is the most important thing, but secondarily, get a number for how many people we have reached by the number of public engagements. So in that sense, it helped us to tick boxes as well as to achieve our primary outcome of communicating science.
Beautiful. Very glad to hear that. And was it also screened like in a cinema or whatever scenario on the island? Or was it also only shared digitally?
Yes, it was also shared at the local school where we had it projected on a large screen, and at an event where we were engaging school children with invertebrate conservation. So we combined the screening of the animation with a small children's workshop where they did some arts and crafts, and they created some of the species out of paint and paper and that sort of thing. So it was really fun to combine with other activities. And now that we have the animation, we have it ready to go at the location for when there is a public meeting or a presentation or something like that. And as a short animation of only, I think it's two minutes, that clip, it combines well with other projects which are ongoing at the location. So because of that, it's been viewed several times at several events in person as well.
All right, excellent. Very nice to hear that it also made it to the school and it developed a whole activity around it. That sounds really fun. So how was it received by the local community of Ascension?
Very well received. I don't believe that people would have responded so warmly with perhaps live photographs of these species, because people associate these insects with being pests and that sort of thing. But the animation was warmly received because giving each of those invertebrate species a personality and a storyline, I think gave members of the public something to more closely relate to. So some of the comments that we received were along the lines of, I thought the invertebrates that lived here were icky, but actually this species is very cute with its little legs or its little haircuts like the moth and that sort of thing. So in those sorts of comments, you could see a switch in perception, which for us as conservationists is a very important thing.
That's great. Very good to hear that. It makes me very happy to know that the work we did reached the audience you wanted to reach, and even caused them to shift the perspectives on the local fauna, no matter how small and no matter how many preconcepts we have about insects. We can change that, and it looks like the animation successfully did. That's fantastic. Okay, Adam, I'll conclude with one final question. Would you recommend this to other researchers or conservationists?
Yes, I would certainly recommend this service. I think for us, it fitted really well in particularly a scientific project which we were trying to engage people in real world outcomes. So certainly it helped us to bridge the gap between the scientific work we were doing on species, life histories, and ecology, and try and convert that into support for application, which actually we later achieved on the island by setting up new protected areas for these species and that sort of thing. So in terms of that process of converting research into application, I definitely think it helped us to achieve our outcomes.
Wow, fantastic. That's a really good success story. I'm very glad to hear that we've been able to help you so much. All right, Adam, thank you very much for your time. And you know where to find us. I hope we'll get another chance to work together. Have a great rest of
Yes,
your day.
I hope so too. Yes, you too. And nice to catch up with you.